Okay, somebody want to ask a question or want me to lead off with a speech? Speech is good? Well, obviously we're really disappointed in, not being in that game to compete. I think that, in the first half we gave up too many big plays defensively. The yardage totals were pretty staggering, so were the points, and then offensively we didn't, we never sustained anything really. We had early little drive where and then we missed on fourth down. I thought that was big, but just in general, right now we're not a good enough offensive team to win a lot of games in our league. The way it is, you got to score more points than we're scoring to win games. We actually played some good defense in the second half. I thought that guys made a lot of plays, so it was better in some respects as the game went on. But the score was out of hand, and we didn't have enough stuff to come back and make it go.
Those types of things that you just mentioned, those have been popping up throughout the year. Why do you think you weren't maybe able to correct some of those things by the end of the season?
What do you mean?
Just the different mistakes that have been popping up. Tonight popped up at other points. Just why the continued struggles you think that just at this point this season?
Well, I think that it's a general statement offensively about not being good enough, and then defensively, usually when there's a big play, you either get beat. A guy wins one-on-one, catches a ball, or you miss a tackle. So it goes back to more specific things, play to play to play. I don't think you have to, in general, have a overall feeling of why those things happen. One guy beats another guy in one-on-one, and then that's how you win in football.
Michael, you're 2-12 in your last 14 Pac-12 games, so something's bigger than just a play here, a play there seems to be going on. Maybe not, but what do you think the problems are, and how do you see addressing them as you go into the future?
Well, certainly we'll evaluate all the parts of the football end of it, what we do strategically and how we can change to make us better, which we try to do every year, but obviously right now I think real important to take a good hard look at that. We'll do that all phases of the game. And then, the other part of it that you can never lose sight of is you have to really do a good job in recruiting. I mean, that's a never-ending deal because, with a team, it's always about, what you choose to do strategically and system, and then who you're doing it with. So the continued work at recruiting the best players and then evaluating what we do. That's generally how to look at it.
Would you expect staff changes, or is that part of the evaluation?
Oh, it's way too soon for me to say anything like that right now.
A lot of these seniors are playing for you as true freshmen. How do you kind of quantify what this class has meant to this program?
Oh, I think this has been a great group of people. There's a lot of good football players there, and all of them good people that have really, I think, been what you want out of college student athletes.
This is the second straight year that against the better teams in the Pac-12 you've struggled offensively. Is there something, you said you had to evaluate strategy. I mean, is there something wrong with or that needs to be changed with the way you approach the offense?
Well, I think it's important to look at whatever could be added that will help you, and then, then the other part that has to be evaluated is who you're going to be doing it with. We had a skillful quarterback, and I think we will in the future, and the skill set might be a little bit different. So what we might yet could look at, that's something that's part of the big evaluation in the off season.
Mike,
Kind of exciting to do, actually.
what did you tell the team after the game?
Oh, I told them that I was disappointed for them, not in them. I think that this, I told them, I said it at the very beginning of the year, and I said it on the last night, that this is a good group of young men that continued to work hard. They competed tonight. They never stopped trying to do that. And so, you know, that's a hard time, you know, when you get down like that. But I thought they kept fighting. And so there's, you know, I think that's basically what I told them. That I appreciated how they continued to do that, and it didn't surprise me with that group. The older guys are good examples, and there's some good young kids here that are, you know, that don't know much better yet. They just kept playing.
Mike, where would you rate Oregon and the teams you played this year?
Oh, I think you'd have to probably both athletically and performance-wise rate them right at the top. You know, I think you're talking about athletes, skills, all that. I think SC and Oregon, great group of athletes.
And with Marcus, when you look at Marcus and watch him, I mean, you got the front row seat tonight for what he can do.
Yeah, he was outstanding tonight, has been consistently outstanding, and he certainly is a great player.
Defensively, Mike Dillon was in here a minute ago and said that he felt that this year a lot of it came down to not trusting that the rest of the defense would do their jobs. But how does that come when you have 8 guys that play together for 2, 3, 4, 2 or 3 years? How does that change maybe the way you address coaching?
Well, I think that, you know, it's not so much always necessarily, I don't see it quite that way. I think sometimes, however you interpret it, some guys try to do too much. And so the discipline of what they're supposed to be doing and trying to help somebody else or making sure, you know, I think some of that happens as it goes too. So, you know, certainly we all take responsibility when we don't do well. So it is like we have to take a look at how we can do it all better.
2 weeks ago, fans were storming the field. You guys were and just pulled off a huge upset. And I know college football can change week to week just because the season's so short. But to have that high moment 2 weeks ago and then to end with 2 losses and no bowl game, just how disappointing is that based on, you know, what you guys could have accomplished?
It's disappointing. You know, we'll look back at a lot of probably what we could say are lost opportunities. You know, we would like to have done a way better job of keeping some of that momentum we had from the Arizona State game. We'd like to turn the clock back and play some of those other games where we were ahead in the fourth quarter and finish them better. You know, we had 3 of those at least with Utah, Cal, and Washington State. So those areas that we failed at, you know, we feel pretty good about how we can look at how we can turn that around. You know, I'm usually given the opportunity, I feel real good about evaluating it well, and then finding a way to make it better. So, you know, sometimes you get in the season and because of certain things that happen injury-wise or youth-wise, it's hard to get it all done. But I feel real good about what we've got coming back and how we can make this thing better. And we've got to be a little bit more versatile offensively, and we've got to continue to grow in what we can do defensively, and we've got to recruit like crazy. I mean, that's the name of the game. You've got to combine both of those. You got to be at the top of your game system-wise and strategically, and you got to be at the top of it and get the best recruiting classes that you can get.
How would you encapsulate the season or describe this season?
Oh, I think in general it's disappointing for sure. I think that you know, you always want to win more games, and you know, like I said, there'll be some really hard ones to look back on that could have changed just one opportunity to go to a bowl game. So, you know, those are always hard to look at. You know, later on, as time goes, you know, we'll use all that information as a tool to get better. But right now, they're just disappointments. That's the problem.
The Ducks have won every Civil War since 2008, I think. Does that make it harder to swallow that the seniors on this team never got to experience a Civil War win?
Sure. I mean, those are all the residual parts that come with losing another Civil War game, for sure. There's lots of reasons, but that's you know, one thing that, like I said, it's a residual part of losing games.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.